Hello again, and welcome back to another installment of our REPS training video series. Today, we will be focusing on communication and how that is so vital to your role as an academic rep here at Brooks. So, here's the question. Why is communication such an important part of being an effective academic rep? As we talked about in the first video, your opinion on any given issue is unlikely to be the same as the rest of your cohort. In order to improve the lives of your fellow students as a whole, their voices must be heard. But even when improvement has been made, communication is still so important because you need to be able to unpack the developments that have happened. Tell your cohort, tell your fellow students the change that you have been able to make, as that will make them feel represented. It will raise the profile of your success. It will make them trust you as an academic rep more, and they will have confidence in taking issues to you in the future. As a rep, you need to be able to effectively reflect multiple points of views without privileging your own. You need to be able to gather those views from an enormously wide range of students with varying degrees of English or IT literacy. It can at times be challenging, but being an effective rep is being able to overcome that. Okay, so let's look at our options. What are the tried and true methods of communicating with students here at Brooks? Well, there's always face-to-face interaction, in groups, during breaks, before and after lectures. You can even communicate with your module lead and go to the front of the lecture, just make your presence known. Usually that's half the battle. You can also use email. You can request access to a specific rep email, which allows you to reach so many more students. And it is the 21st century, so social media is a thing, Facebook groups, things like that. Social media is so important with modern students, so use every asset you have. Let's say you've gathered some feedback. What next? It's essential that before you do anything with that feedback, you reflect on whether or not it really is representative of the wider student views. It's probably worth taking whatever it was back to an even larger group of students in order to be certain that not only is the feedback you have impartial and an accurate representation of the wider student body, but also that you are able to provide evidence for that. And there really are a lot of different ways that you can go about evidencing student feedback. Because it does need to be stressed. It's not just a process of gathering the feedback. You need to ensure that the feedback you have gathered is truly representative of the wider student belief. And to do that, you have to evidence it. So, one of the best methods that we here at Brooks Union have for evidencing student feedback, and something that I hope as reps you will not only engage with but really take for everything it's worth, is our student forums. Student forums are an absolutely excellent way of getting to the bottom of an issue and to start really finding a solution. For example, a student comes to you and says they don't like their lecturer. A forum would give you the ability to find out whether this is a widely held student view, but also explore why that student feels that way. If you are keen to run a student forum of your own, please contact us and we can help organize and set it up at the time. You can do that by emailing us at su.representation@brooks.ac.uk. Another great way of getting evidence is by running a survey. And there really are a lot of good ways to go about doing this. A survey could be a one-question poll on a subject Facebook group about an issue such as whether the teaching room is too hot. Or it can be multiple questions through SurveyMonkey or Google Forms. It is important to try and keep your survey as neutral as possible. Try not to ask leading questions like, is the room too hot? Instead, as I say, try and be really neutral. Just phrase your questions like, what do you think about the temperature of the teaching space? Also, it's quite important to give people a good but fixed range of response options to allow your analysis of the data to be easy and relatively straightforward, saving you from having to spend hours and hours and hours. Once you have developed your survey, you then need to consider the best way to get it to your fellow students. If the issue that you're facing relates specifically to a lecture, then printing some paper copies and asking students to fill them in at the end of a lecture may be the best and most appropriate way to engage your students. But it's important to weigh that up because this method would also likely lead to a lot more work on your part in the long run. Otherwise, you can ask your module leader to email it out, or if it is to a considerably wider group of students, you can use your rep email. Once you have your data, you need to analyze it. What does it tell you? With some issues, you may need to have a much larger number of people to evidence a point. So if it's a considerable issue that you're levying towards the university, you will need considerable evidence and therefore engagement with a lot of students to make that point effectively. But if it is just a small, less consequential issue, then you may just need 1 or maybe 2 students. That might be enough. Once you've analyzed the data, you need to create the report. This doesn't mean pages and pages of work for you. This just needs to say why you ran the survey, what the results were, and most importantly, what should be done as a result. If you can provide a constructive solution to the issue you face, the university is far more likely to take action on it. Once your report is ready, it is essential that you take it to the appropriate meetings. You can have all the evidence in the world, beautifully formatted, everything's perfect. If you don't bring it to the appropriate meeting, be that the subject committee meeting or rep forum, then it's not really worth anything. But it is worth noting that you can come talk to us at any point in this process. We here at Brookes Union understand how challenging this process can be, and so we want to wholeheartedly extend our fullest degree of support if you need it at any point through this process. And that almost brings us to a conclusion of our 4-part academic rep video training series. In this video, we've looked at how communicating between students and staff can create useful change, how it is vital for change here at Brookes. We've looked at how data can make your points stronger and more effective, and we've thought about how you could collect feedback from our students, all of the different methods that are at your disposal. And just like that, you have finished our 4-part video training series. You now have some degree of a qualification of how to be an effective rep here at Oxford Brookes University. As always, if you have any uncertainty as to anything we covered a lot of things. So first of all, go back through the video, see if there was anything you missed. But if there are any burning questions after that, please do not hesitate to contact one of us here at Brookes Union, and we will help you out. Thank you so much for bearing with me, going through the entire video training series. Fantastic. And I look forward to seeing you out and about as an academic rep.